Siren Head. In a grainy photo from late 2010 seconds internet lore, a rusted pole with twin speakers steps out of the tree line, and every warning you have ever heard feels hijacked. The claim is simple and brutal. He weaponizes public safety language, turning stay indoors into a hunt call. Performance pressure comes from range. A single broadcast blankets a town, drowns radios, and bends your map into a funnel where every street leads to the same metallic voice. Measurable stakes are clear. If you can hear it, he can pace you. The craft is mimicry plus direction finding. He mixes official tone with local detail, pairing a familiar signal chime with false evacuation routes that push you toward open ground. The mechanics read like a radio play that edits where you run next. Counter readings argue he is only an image, a tall joke with speakers. The strongest canon detail refuses that softness. Alerts that change as you move, cadence that matches wind, and a body that is light enough to stand in places poles never could. Versus near neighbors like any tall forest thing, he wins because he speaks your mother tongue in a voice your nerves trust.
This is not a test. This is a national emergency.
A faceless giant is scary. A siren that says, your neighborhood by name is a net. Micro-vignette. A night guard kills the PA, yet the mall fills with an evacuation order that mentions his exact exit. He chooses the opposite corridor, stays low, and times his steps between squeals. When the voice moves upstairs, he leaves through the loading dock. Cartoon Cat. The frame is the prison and the key. He arrives as a rubber hose grin on a stained wall, and then steps forward like reality forgot to be flat. The claim. Elasticity plus cruelty. A vintage smile that can stretch to any room it wants. Pressure comes from rule immunity. Doors are suggestions. Walls are jokes. The creature honors punchline logic. The longer you stare, the more he can do. Stakes are measured in seconds of eye contact you should never grant. The craft sits in sight gags and edits. Limbs slip behind lines that are not there and reappear on your side. He is fast when the camera blinks, and patient when you are brave enough to keep the lens steady. Pushback says he is only hostile to trespassers or to the cruel. The clearest images reject that charity. He plays with what scares you and chooses a target because the empty hallway is boring, not because you deserve anything. Versus a clown or a mimic, he wins because nostalgia is his camouflage. The old cartoon style looks safe, then it interrupts the world like a cut you did not make. That inversion is the hook you feel in your stomach. Micro-vignette. A maintenance worker covers a mural with gray paint and watches the eyes drift to a clean edge. He drops the roller, keeps the bucket, and backs into the bright parking lot without tripping. The grin waits at the doorway and does not cross. Bridge worm. The first face is a mask. Soft skin folds like a smile, and the eyes are painted kindness. The truth opens from beneath. A long, pale body that uncoils across the culvert and reaches with hunger that does not need legs. The pressure is the choke point. Underpasses compress choices into one bad lane where headlights trap you. Measurable stakes show up as speed. Too fast, and you crash. Too slow, and the false face meets your windshield. The craft blends misdirection and ambush geometry. The lure points where it wants your eyes, while the body snakes around guardrails and under cars to meet you where your seatbelt makes you slow. Counter readings say it only thrives in rural space. The best frames counter with parking garage echoes and tunnel mouths. Anywhere, flat concrete meets low light becomes the right kind of throat. Versus other ambush predators in the catalog, it wins on empathy bait. The warm, soft fake face is made to harvest your impulse to help. That is a darker weapon than teeth. We do not break for a smile that does not blink. Keep windows up, cross the narrow zone, and only stop in a place with witnesses. Long horse. A skull and a ribbon spine lean through a doorway like a bookmark for a disaster that has not happened yet. The claim is kindness. An omen that does not bite. A presence that points you away from collapse. Pressure is paradoxical. You must notice without staring. The stakes are whether you read the gesture in time. A head angled toward a safe corridor, a neck arcing around debris as if measuring what will soon fall. The craft is premonition, distribution. He arrives where noise will be. The mechanics feel like a warning system that uses body language instead of sirens, a map sketched in bone. Pushback argues he is a false comfort that distracts from human work. The clearest reports make a better claim. He points. You move, and the ceiling collapses where you would have walked. Courtesy becomes survival math. Versus monsters that claim to help, he wins because he never asks. No contracts, no puzzles, no bargains. He simply arcs and leaves. That absence of cost builds trust the next time he visits. Long horse, impact line. In a world of traps, a benevolent omen becomes a tool. You live by reading body angles the way sailors read clouds. The smile room. A door in an abandoned hallway opens into a mouth that does not wait for you to step closer. The frame shows a grin made of enamel and a red velvet throat. The claim is spatial fraud. A room that eats. Pressure is curiosity weaponized. Doors promise exits. Signage lies. When the handle turns, the walls become teeth. Stakes measure in inches. A threshold is a blade when it closes behind your shoulders. Craft details hide in architecture. Tiles bow inward. Hinges face the wrong way. Depth feels wrong in a way your phone camera refuses to see. The music of the hallway turns warm to mask the chill air moving in and out. Pushback says you can simply close the door. The cleanest images prove the opposite. Once the frame accepts you, closing is not a verb you control. The hinges are part of the jaw, not part of your plan. Versus any mimic doorway, it wins because it does not wait for a mistake. It hunts by inviting the correct behavior and switching the contract after you comply. Test with objects, not arms. If the room breathes, leave. If the door smiles, it will bite. Man with the upside-down face. A news photo shows a disaster crowd and one face is rotated wrong, a calm grin inverted like a stamp of approval. The claim is influence. Tragedies that curve toward him like iron to a magnet. Pressure appears as bad luck that learns your address. Elevators stall, brakes squeal, and crowds choose the narrowest exit. The stakes are never one scene. It is a cascade he enjoys from 1,000 yards away.
What a time to be alive.
Craft lives in presence without touch. He does not need a room. He needs a moment. He stands where cameras will be, and the footage grows teeth only after you rewind and freeze the frame. Counter-reading says it is just apophenia, chaos, and hindsight. The sharp canon detail against that claim is continuity. He appears across decades with the same wrong smile, the same delighted witness posture. Man with the upside-down face. Versus devils and omen men, he wins because he does not sell anything. He watches. He enjoys. The economy of his horror is what makes it feel bigger. Impact line. Some monsters do not chase. They stand perfectly still, and history walks into frame to please them.
What a time to be alive. Assuming, of course, that you are alive.
Big Charlie, a huge, swollen calf head with a broken grin, wanders a lot line like meat in search of a will. The claim is contagious material, a body that leaks hunger into the ground. Pressure is environmental. Flies balloon in minutes. Dogs refuse to bark. Neighbors set out scraps and wake to a property line that feels wrong, as if the grass is keeping score. The craft sits in yield. He rarely sprints. He expands. The longer he lingers, the more the place accepts new rules. Compost turns to bait, fences sag toward his shape, and sheds start to smell like wet skin. Pushback says he is pitiable, not dangerous. The strongest detail against that mercy is what follows where he rests. Offspring that are not cute. Meat that will not stay dead the way meat should. Big Charlie. Versus simple cryptids, he wins on aftertaste. Even when he is gone, the zone he made keeps breaking. That is a bigger horror than a chase. It is a neighborhood that will not heal. Treat the lot like a spill, not a sighting. Quarantine beats cameras. You cannot fix a place by feeding it. Country road creature. Headlights cut a prairie, and something tall unfolds from the ditch, all limbs and patience. The claim is migration. It walks with roads, because roads walk with us. Pressure equals isolation. No houses, no witnesses. Just a 2-lane strip where every mile marker is a metronome for how long you can keep calm. Stakes are simple. If you stop, it owns the car. The craft is approach control. It uses distance like a rope, closing only when you blink with high beams or when your engine coughs. It does not need speed. It needs your attention to wobble. Pushback says it cannot follow into towns. The counter detail says otherwise. Tall shadows at gas stations where lights flicker. Security cameras that miss one frame and find 2 silhouettes where there should be one. Country road creature versus slender imitators and night hikers. It wins by refusing costume. No tie, no clean silhouette. Just a famine-shaped problem that fits any empty road you have ever driven. Keep moving and keep talking. Fear grows quiet. Teams on speaker keep rhythm in your head and the miles turn back into miles instead of teeth. Siren Head. Practical takeaway. Treat all emergency chatter in the zone as hostile, until verified by several human mouths in person. Survival logic beats politeness when the sky itself has a voice. Cartoon cat. Practical takeaway. Never let a nostalgic frame decide how long you look. Close the tab. Leave the wall. If it takes breath to laugh, do not spend that breath inside a grin. Bridgeworm. Practical takeaway. Do not investigate a smiling lump at a choke point. Your kindness is the lure it wants. Choose momentum and witnesses. Long horse. Practical takeaway. If the world itself seems to point you away from a collapsing path, honor the gesture and move. Gratitude is a survival skill. The smile room. Practical takeaway. Doors that breathe are not doors. Test with thrown objects. Count. If the count goes long before the sound, you are feeding depth you cannot pay. Man with the upside-down face. Practical takeaway. Stop replaying the worst day to find hymns in the smoke. He wants attention pumped into past pain. Do not build him an altar with your rewatch. Big Charlie. Practical takeaway. Treat contamination as a map, not a mystery. Mark the spill, warn the neighbors, and starve the zone of the attention and food it uses to grow. Country road creature. Practical takeaway. The road is a metronome that wants you alive if you give it routine. Keep speed steady, voice steady, and eyes on the ribbon, not on what is tall and patient beyond it. Do not glamorize harm. Focus on craft, logic, and psychology. Siren Head. Why he endures. Because he steals the most trusted sounds and turns them against towns. Cartoon cat. Why he endures. Because he steals childhood style and paints it with hunger. Bridgeworm. Why it endures. Because it steals your empathy and uses it as bait. Long horse. Why it endures. Because a helpful omen is rare in horror, and kindness you can read is a light worth carrying. The smile room. Why it endures. Because it steals exit behavior and makes leaving lethal. Man with the upside-down face. Why he endures. Because he steals the meaning of disaster photos and smiles when you notice too late. Big Charlie. Why it endures. Because it steals neighborhoods and leaves them slightly wrong forever. Country road creature. Why it endures. Because it steals the comfort of distance, and you will drive at night again. Siren Head. Final button. Verify. With people, not with signals. Cartoon cat. Final button. Break the frame and step into light. Bridgeworm. Final button. Momentum over mercy when the smile is fabric. Long horse. Final button. Accept help that asks for nothing. The smile room. Final button. Test space. Like it wants to trick you. Man with the upside-down face. Final button. Deny him the rewatch he feeds on. Big Charlie. Final button. Starve the zone and call it a spill. Country road creature. Final button. Keep the car a stage you control, not a theater it directs.